got Sophie Cunningham on her podcast just coming out and saying what so many people have been saying, but you haven't heard it from any WNBA players up until this point. But we know when it comes to Sophie, she doesn't seem like somebody that is going to hold her feelings, her opinions inside.
Sophie Cunningham dropped a bomb no one else dared to touch. She straight up called out the WNBA's biggest conflict of interest, exposing an issue festering right at the top of the league. The smile on her face, that was the knowing grin of someone unveiling an inconvenient truth during her Show Me Something podcast appearance. It's what everyone whispers about, but no WNBA player until now had the guts to say on record. The silence from others was deafening, but Sophie chose to speak her mind, sending ripples through the entire professional basketball community. This wasn't just a comment, it was a gauntlet thrown directly at the establishment.
All right, you can book it. You can book it. It's good as done. It is good as official. Sophie Cunningham will be back with the Indiana Fever, as they have made it a priority to keep her involved with everything in regards to the organization during this offseason. Sophie Cunningham will be back, y'all. That is good news. Tres Leches will be back. One half of the Blonde Bombers will be back. The one person that we know, besides Lexi Hall, the person we know will fight if anybody steps to Caitlyn Clark the wrong way. Sophie Cunningham.
The target of Sophie's explosive revelation, WNBA stars Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart. These two formidable players aren't just league veterans, they are the high-profile co-founders of Unrivaled, a brand new women's basketball league that's already making significant waves and attracting substantial talent. This dual role creates a situation many fans and media have privately questioned for months, but Sophie publicly articulated, forcing the conversation into the open. Their positions are undeniably powerful, and their connection to a rival venture raises serious eyebrows across the entire professional sports landscape, demanding answers.
Before the draft's going to happen, right? So, in other words, the worst teams. When are the worst teams? What order are they going to end up picking? In other words, let's just start there. These are the teams in the WNBA draft lottery. Number 1, it will take place Sunday, November 23rd on ESPN. You're going to do a draft on NFL or draft lottery on NFL Sunday? Okay, that's one way to go, I guess. Wow, this league is crazy.
The heart of the controversy, as highlighted by Cunningham, lies in their leadership roles within the WNBA Players Association. Collier and Stewart both serve as vice presidents on the executive committee, giving them direct influence over critical player affairs and, perhaps most importantly, the ongoing collective bargaining agreement negotiations. To simultaneously build a competing league, offering alternative employment, while representing players in the existing one presents a stark ethical dilemma. It's a situation ripe for accusations of divided loyalties, and Sophie Cunningham wasn't afraid to label it as a clear conflict of interest, pulling no punches.
One person that we know, besides Lexi Hall, the person we know will fight if anybody steps to Caitlyn Clark the wrong way. Sophie Cunningham will be back with the Indiana Fever. This is beautiful, beautiful news and a great thing to see. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video as always. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rolling. So, Sophie Cunningham has been doing her big one during the offseason, as she should be out here doing her big one. And if you pay attention to the tea leaves, there's only
Unrivaled burst onto the scene, promising player salaries that make current WNBA paychecks look absolutely minuscule by comparison. This isn't just a minor difference, it's a monumental gap that instantly caught the attention of players and agents worldwide. Imagine being an executive in one company, tasked with negotiating employee salaries, while also owning a startup that explicitly offers significantly more money to the same talent pool. That's the precise scenario Collier and Stewart find themselves in, as spotlighted by Cunningham's fearless observation, creating an undeniable financial leverage point against the WNBA.
To do a draft on NFL or draft lottery on NFL Sunday. Okay, that's one way to go, I guess. Wow, this league is crazy. Dallas Wings, Minnesota Lynx, Seattle Storm, Washington Mystics, and Chicago Sky will take part in the WNBA Draft Lottery 2026. ESPN will air a 30-minute WNBA Draft Lottery special at 5:30 Central with WNBA Head of League Operation Bethany Donovan.
Napheesa Collier, in particular, has been one of the most vocal and consistent critics of the WNBA's pay structure. She's actively and publicly voiced deep frustrations about how much professional women's basketball players earn for their elite skills and dedication. While her advocacy for higher wages is universally commendable, her dual role as a founder of a league that offers those higher wages, while simultaneously negotiating for the WNBA, adds another significant layer of complexity to her stance. Sophie's comments shine a harsh, unflinching light on this delicate balance, questioning the purity of intent in such a high-stakes environment.
Offseason, as she should be out here doing her big one. And if you pay attention to the tea leaves, there's only a few people that's with the team who have been involved with operations in terms of team activities and things like that. And I'm going to get into, there's some people who have been no call, no show, who have not been allowed to be a part of anything. And that's because they won't be back. And that is a great thing. What do we have here? We have Sophie Cunningham participating in another engagement on behalf of the Indiana Fever.
The timing of Sophie Cunningham's statement couldn't be more critical or strategically placed. The WNBA League office and players are currently deep in negotiations for their next collective bargaining agreement, a pivotal moment that will shape the league's future for years to come. With Unrivaled already setting a new, much higher salary benchmark, and its co-founders sitting at the WNBA negotiating table, the lines of interest become incredibly blurred. Sophie's willingness to call out this conflict of interest directly during these sensitive, high-pressure discussions is truly unprecedented and remarkably bold for any active player.
First round pick, and will have 261 chances out of 1,000 to win the top pick. God. Chicago is in a mess. They are. Chicago, which owns the Connecticut Suns first round selection, has the 5th most chances. So 55 chances out of 100, out of 1,000 to land the first overall pick. So good luck with that. Yeah, that franchise is in a wreck, and their draft situation.
This isn't some minor league scuffle or a localized issue. It's professional basketball played by the same elite players at the highest level. The argument that it's not the same time of year or it's 3x3 simply doesn't hold water, as Sophie Cunningham implicitly pointed out with her direct challenge. A player can get hurt or suffer an injury in Unrivaled, directly impacting their WNBA career and the substantial investment made by WNBA owners. The fundamental nature of the competition and the shared player pool means the conflict is inherent and unavoidable, regardless of season or specific format, making the stakes immense for everyone involved.
And that is a great thing. What do we have here? We have Sophie Cunningham participating in another engagement on behalf of the Indiana Fever, doing her thing. Let's take a look at it. And she's only doing this because they are 100% bringing her back.
Stuffing? Yes, yes, yes.
Sophie!
Yes! What's going on? No, you are not. This is what we're here for. We're here for you. Come on! Ah!
This is what we're here for. We're here for you. You love to see the engagement with the people. You know Caitlyn Clark is a woman of the people. She's a
For seasoned sports fans, those who have followed the intricacies of the professional game for decades, this conflict of interest is glaringly obvious. We've witnessed countless collective bargaining negotiations in the NBA, NFL, and MLB, understanding the delicate balance of power. The idea of key player representatives simultaneously running a direct competitor would be unthinkable, a non-starter in those established leagues. Sophie Cunningham simply articulated what many external observers with a basic understanding of professional sports dynamics and ethics have already recognized. Her courage lies not in discovering the issue, but in publicly validating its undeniable existence from within the player ranks.
Some terrible trades last couple of years. Sophie Cunningham. So something we have told you guys on this channel, we have called out, is the massive conflict of interest between the Unrivaled co-founders, Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, being involved with the WNBA Players Union. Their vice presidents. Guess what? Sophie Cunningham comes out and acknowledges there's a conflict of interest there. It is what it is. I don't understand if we keep saying I don't understand.
Sophie Cunningham isn't exactly new to speaking her mind or shying away from controversial topics. This is the very same player who famously stood up to fiercely defend Caitlyn Clark when many others in the league remained conspicuously silent or even seemed openly hostile. She's built a consistent reputation as someone who doesn't shy away from uncomfortable truths or defending what she believes is unequivocally right, even if it means being unpopular. Her history of straightforward, no-nonsense communication makes her the ideal candidate to address such a touchy subject, proving she's not afraid to be the lone voice in the room, even when it's politically inconvenient.
This is what we're here for. We're here for you. You love to see the engagement with the people. You know Caitlyn Clark is a woman of the people. She's a woman of the people, the people's champ, the one and only. We got Sophie Cunningham, who has, if anybody has seized the moment of being next to Caitlyn Clark, nobody has seized it better than Sophie Cunningham. Good Morning America, RB, everything. NASCAR, everything. She has seized the moment.
You're going to Sydney? You're skipping this? No!
Now this
unfiltered honesty and unshakable character are precisely why the Indiana Fever is reportedly prioritizing her return. It's been widely signaled that Sophie Cunningham will be back with the team, a crucial piece of the puzzle around superstar Caitlyn Clark. The Fever clearly sees her immense value not just on the court as a skilled player, but as a fearless leader and an incredibly loyal teammate. Keeping her involved with everything during the offseason speaks absolute volumes about their unwavering trust in her character and her overall positive impact, even amidst potentially controversial public comments that might ruffle feathers.
The league has found itself in an interesting position given that the WNBA league office and players are busy negotiating for the league's next collective bargaining agreement. Since Unrivaled is notorious for giving its players salaries that make the current WNBA salaries look minuscule, Unrivaled can be used as an example for what the world's best women's basketball players should be making in the world's premier women's basketball league. But that's not where the interest ends. Unrivaled's co-founders, WNBA stars Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart,
her deep engagement in off-season team activities, alongside Caitlyn Clark, further cements her importance and perceived indispensability to the Fever organization. Sophie has been seen participating in numerous community events and important engagements, proudly representing the organization. This isn't standard practice for players whose futures are uncertain or hanging in the balance. It's a clear and unmistakable indication of her secure position and the team's firm long-term commitment. They wouldn't invest in her public image and community engagement if she wasn't a cornerstone of their future plans, especially after making such high-profile, outspoken statements.
Engagement event on behalf of the Indiana Fever. Now, they wouldn't be having her do this if she was not going to be a part of this team next season. They would choose somebody else who's going to be here. It's as simple as that. They would have called Lexi. They would have had somebody else from the organization who's going to be there next season. So this is good news and a good sign that Sophie Cunningham will be back with the Indiana Fever, which is ultimately something we all want. You see did you see Natasha Howard out there? No, because they're not bringing Natasha Howard back as they shouldn't. You're not going to.
Sophie's unique ability to skillfully seize the moment next to Caitlyn Clark without ever trying to overshadow her also highlights her profound self-awareness and strategic thinking. She famously declared, "I will be her Sabrina Carpenter any day" to her Taylor Swift. This isn't about stealing the spotlight, but intelligently enhancing it, working seamlessly and effectively alongside a transcendent star. This nuanced approach to partnership translates directly to her truth-telling. She's not trying to disrupt for disruption's sake, but to bring necessary clarity and honesty to complex situations, recognizing where her voice is most impactful.
But that's not where the interest ends. Unrivaled's co-founders, WNBA stars Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart, these two happen to be WNBA Players Association Executive Committee, both being vice presidents. Collier is arguably the most vocal among WNBA players about her frustration with the league regarding how much players are paid. Many fans and media members feel like Collier and Stewart's involvement in the CBA negotiations is a conflict of interest, giving their founding.
Her journey to the Fever itself was fueled primarily by her desire to play alongside Clark. Sophie openly admitted she never truly saw herself leaving Phoenix, where she had established a great setup, a comfortable home, and an excellent off-court situation. Yet the undeniable allure of Clark's bright lights and unparalleled spotlight ultimately motivated her significant move. She clearly recognized the immense opportunity for both her game and her personal brand to blow up next to Clark. This ambition, combined with her characteristic directness, ultimately defines her as a player who strategically navigates her career and isn't afraid to make big, impactful moves.
We all want. You see did you see Natasha Howard out there? No, because they're not bringing Natasha Howard back as they shouldn't. You're not gonna see Natasha Howard at none of these events. You're not gonna see Odyssey Sims there. You're not gonna see Odyssey Sims there. Odyssey Sims is gone. I'm sorry. Odyssey Sims, you did your thing, but she's gone. I don't think, or at least I think she's gone. I don't think you'll see her at any of these events. And here we even have just some of the things Sophie was saying about joining the Indiana Fever and uniting with Caitlyn Clark. Let's take a listen to some of the things she had to say.
The implications of Sophie's comments extend far beyond individual players and their personal brand. They challenge the very governance and ethical framework of the WNBA as it exists today, demanding a closer look. If key player representatives entrusted with negotiating player welfare are simultaneously invested in a rival venture, how can fair, transparent, and unbiased negotiations truly take place? This isn't a theoretical question, it's a tangible issue that impacts every single player, every owner, and the fundamental future viability of the WNBA itself, especially concerning player salaries, benefits, and overall welfare, requiring an urgent resolution.
So that's interesting. And she said that with a smile. So, I mean, there you are. There's the first player to actually have the guts to come out and acknowledge there is some kind of a conflict of interest involving, I mean, it's crazy. The most obvious thing these players, generally speaking, want to try to steer clear of, like people are blind and stupid. Especially fans that came in as actual sports fans, and we've sat back and watched.
The contrast between Sophie Cunningham and other players in the league is striking and undeniable. While many might privately share Sophie's profound concerns, very few, if any, have dared to voice them publicly in such an open, unambiguous manner. This pervasive silence from the majority creates a perception of complicity, or at the very least, a deep reluctance to rock the established boat. Sophie Cunningham's courageous willingness to stick her neck out makes her a rare anomaly and an incredibly powerful voice. Her honesty forces others to acknowledge the elephant in the room, whether they like it or not, pushing the boundaries of what is considered acceptable league discourse.
We even have just some of the things Sophie was saying about joining the Indiana Fever and uniting with Caitlyn Clark. Let's take a listen to some of the things she had to say.
The joke was on us because maybe she was asking you to come to the Fever.
No, maybe I just put an atmosphere and it happened.
But how funny is that? Like I never really even saw myself leaving Phoenix. It was my new home away from home. I have a great off-court situation. I've built a lot of fun relationships out there. And yeah, I was like, hey, like, what do we need? No, come on, out of here, how do you get out of here?
See, she had a good setup. And this is what, if Caitlyn.
The situation is particularly poignant, given that Unrivaled explicitly positions itself as a league that prioritizes player compensation, directly addressing a long-standing, often voiced grievance within the WNBA. While the intention to elevate women's basketball pay and create more opportunities is universally admirable, the method, when inextricably intertwined with existing WNBA executive roles, raises uncomfortable and complex questions about leverage and fundamental fairness. Sophie's comments powerfully underscore that even positive change, when implemented in such a manner, can come with significant ethical complexities that desperately need to be openly discussed and transparently resolved for the integrity of the sport. This isn't merely a fleeting story or a passing headline, it's a critical defining moment for the WNBA as a whole. The league finds itself at a pivotal crossroads, navigating immense new popularity driven by transcendent stars like Caitlyn Clark, but also facing fundamental existential questions about its very structure, ethical governance, and player relations. Sophie Cunningham's bold honesty forces the league to confront an uncomfortable truth about internal conflicts of interest that have festered beneath the surface. It's a testament to her unwavering character that she prioritized transparency and integrity over political convenience, risking criticism for the sake of undeniable clarity. Her candor is a refreshing breath of fresh air in a professional sports landscape, often dominated by carefully curated public relations statements and guarded, evasive answers. Sophie's authentic, no-nonsense approach resonates deeply with fans who crave genuine insight into the inner workings of professional sports. Weary of manufactured narratives, she effortlessly bypasses the usual guarded statements, delivering raw, unvarnished truth that directly challenges the existing status quo. This fearless, direct communication style powerfully reinforces her growing brand as a player who consistently keeps it real, both on and off the court, solidifying her growing influence within the game. The future fallout from Sophie's statements remains to be seen and will undoubtedly be closely watched by everyone involved. Will other players now feel genuinely empowered to speak up and voice their own concerns? Will the WNBA Players Association be forced to address the perceived conflict more directly and transparently, initiating an internal review? Or will the league attempt to simply downplay the significance of her powerful remarks, hoping the controversy fades? One thing is absolutely certain: Sophie Cunningham has ignited a conversation that was long overdue, making it impossible for the WNBA to simply ignore the uncomfortable questions she so bravely brought to light. The ball is now definitively in the league's court. Sophie Cunningham didn't just expose a significant conflict, she demonstrated true unwavering leadership by daring to say what unequivocally needed to be said, regardless of any potential personal or professional consequence. In a league that is increasingly demanding transparency, fairness, and ethical governance, her powerful voice cuts through the pervasive noise, holding powerful figures accountable for their actions in dual roles. This moment will undoubtedly be remembered as a pivotal turning point, where one player's courage forced a hard, introspective look at the ethical foundations of women's professional basketball. The profound impact of her unfiltered truth will undoubtedly reverberate for many seasons to come, shaping the future of the WNBA.